There seems to be momentum picking up for a 24-team playoff, with even some coaches endorsing it as well. But is this as terrible as idea as we think it is? Of course it is.
You're talking ball with the ACC Squad. From Florida State to North Carolina, from Syracuse to Miami, and from NC State to California, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming ACC weekend. Hang on, it could get loud, it could get heated, and it will definitely be fun. Squad up, you're part of the ACC Squad.
Well, welcome to the Locked On Squad show here this week, and we got a very nightcap-esque show for you today. We got Jarvis, we got Kenton, Brian Smith, JJ Jackson here with me today. Coming up on the show today, Bill Belichick had 0 players get drafted in this year's NFL draft. We'll talk about that. Plus, Duke seems far and away to be the favorite, the way too early favorite, to win the ACC title in basketball. So who can reasonably challenge them for that spot as the basketball season comes through its off season? But first, everybody's floating this thing around. Seems as if there's going to be momentum toward it. Rhett Lashley even endorsed it publicly this week for a 2014 playoff. Kenton, since you were the last one here, you get the first crack at it. The last shall be first here. How bad of an idea is a 2014 playoff?
In the words of Cat Williams, I want to be first last. I want to be, but no, in all seriousness, when you're talking about a 2014 playoff, let me ask you this. If anybody on this show, if you have ever had a moment where you thought 24 different teams could win a national championship in football, go ahead and raise your hand. Say aye, anything. Oh, okay. I'm hearing a moment of silence. I'm in the thumbs down from JJ. So, this is a situation where I'm not against the idea of expanding and giving more teams an opportunity and all that, if that was truly what was happening. What will happen instead is we'll be litigating and negotiating and arguing whether or not a 4 or 5 loss SEC or Big Ten team belongs in. And we still won't be including teams from the group of 5 that have, 11-1, 12-0 seasons. They still won't get included at a ridiculous volume. So
they'll get 1K. They get one.
But that's my point. That's my point, Jarvis. If we're going to do 24 teams, at least put some winners in that thing. Don't tell me, well, they beat everybody except the 4 really good teams in their conference. So every time they play the non-playoff team, they look good. Look like their tails don't need to be in the playoffs. Look like we got ourselves an answer there. So I think 24, it's a ridiculous number. It really and truly is. And this also marks what is very likely the end of conference championship games, because you got to expand this thing out one way or the other in terms of the weeks. And that is the biggest travesty of it all. Even beyond getting it, well, does a 4-loss Texas belong to be in? When Arch Manning gets hot. Arch is a great name for him for reasons that I will not go into on air. But the reality of this thing is, I'm sitting here saying you are not going to see more good teams in. We're going to be arguing about, well, Wisconsin's really good this year. They're as physical as anybody, and they only got blew out by Oregon and Michigan and Ohio State. But other than that, they're great. Foolishness.
I mean, all this is about money, man. Like, can we just keep it a book? Like, this is all about money. This is a money grab, and this is what makes me want to throw up, because, 12 teams is too much to me, in my humble opinion. Because that 12 team is probably never going to win a national championship. You're probably never going to get to the doggone semifinals. Like, when you think about it from that aspect, I don't think that, we should be expanding it in order to just to say you're expanding. Just because the only thing you can explain to me that makes sense is that, hey, you're not trying to get teams in that can actually have an opportunity to win it. You're just trying to get enough teams in so you can renegotiate the TV contract that you got with ESPN. I don't know. Still trying to figure out how they're able to pay for all this stuff. But anyway, and Stephen A. Smith, I just don't understand how that thing works. But anyway, I think this is one of those things instances where they kind of just, somebody needs to be a grown up in the room and say, hey guys, we're making enough money. We got $200 million that come from the conference championship games. Let's continue to get that bag. And then, do the 12-team playoffs and just go on about our way. Everybody get this money and go on about your way. But let's just stop for a second and just say, hey, man, we're trying to expand the playoffs because, hey, we want to be able to get everybody a chance. No, y'all just want this bag. That's all.
I absolutely agree with Kenton. I absolutely agree with Jarvis. And let me add to it. Why Lashley and everybody that's on that cusp want the extra spots? It will make it a lot easier for them to keep their jobs and for them to get the bag. Now, Lashley's a really good coach. By the way, he's a really, really good coach.
Sure. Yeah.
I think he'll have a chance to go to the playoff. It's a 12 team. So he's kind of an outlier. But there are a lot of guys in that 12 to 24 range that are giving the golf clap right now. They're giving the golf clap right now. They're not going to get fired because it's schools that are more the 8-4 variety, and they had that 9-3, 10-2 season. They only got to make the playoff one time, and they'll get a contract extension. And Kenton, just remind me, how many of those extensions aren't guaranteed money? What's that number? Is it this number right here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They get paid when they get that extension. So they don't care. That's it. It's about the money.
It's less non-guaranteed contracts than it is follicles of hair on top of your head and my head combined to still work. There's nothing, nada, zilch. You know.
Yeah, 24 is just a crazy number. Like that's so. I mean, just to think about having to format this to get it down to your best team when it's been kind of clear in college football history throughout the course of the season, the best team finds a way to prevail. And once you get into championship moments, sure, sometimes in a 4-team playoff, you could have the 3 or the 4 team get it done, but it truly would never get that much larger than what we've seen here recently. So 24 is absurd. And at that point, all it is a money grab.
Jarvis, to push back. I was going to say, to push back on your point that 12 is too many, remember Miami got into the playoff as the 10 seed last year and made it all the way to the national championship. So I think you can find 9 or 10 that could reasonably win a championship, but you ain't going to find 16, and you're sure as hell are not going to find 24. Here's the other big picture point in all of this, too. At what point do you consider point of diminishing returns? And at what point are you going to be playing too many games? The season already takes way too long, and we're already going to be playing a national championship in the middle or actually really to the end of January. I think next year's championship game is on January 26th. That's too long for a season that already starts at the end of August. So you're going to put more attrition on these people's bodies. You're already going to have teams in there that have no business winning a national championship. So you're going to make your teams that can win a championship subject themselves to even more fatigue and attrition and body blows. At that point, you're just hurting your own product. And to me, that's the big overarching reason why 24 is way too many.
By the way, because of what you just said, and you're right about the diminishing returns, what do people get pissed about when they spend a lot of money on NBA tickets? They go see a star player.
People not playing.
And guess what's about to happen in college football? I'm not trying to, and I get it, because football's a whole other level. It's coming.
No way. Players are not going to sit out of the playoffs. Even
if
you were
not playoff, I'm talking about regular season.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And you know what? To that end, and this is my biggest gripe with the 2014 playoff. The beauty of college football, it had something no other sport had. There been NFL teams that lost 5-6 games and went on to win a Super Bowl. In basketball, March Madness, we've seen teams that barely made a conference tournament make it to the Final Four. It's good. It's great. It's a good time. Basketball is a best-of-7 series. So even some of the damn playoff games don't mean that much. College football used to mean every single game. It was everything. I remember West Virginia having one of the best seasons we had ever seen in their program's history. Dave Wanstead said, hey, how about I ruin that? How about I make sure that y'all don't go to a national championship? And that changed the course of many lives forever. If we work under this current premise, a lot of games that meant so much, that the game with Michigan, Ohio State, when I grew up and Troy Smith was the quarterback of Ohio State and Chad Henne, and you had 1 versus 2, and it was like, oh, we butting heads, we going at it. That game was to determine who's going to the national championship. One of y'all going to win that football game, and the other is going home or going to a lesser bowl game. This 24 teams, I mean, what games actually mean something in the regular season at that point?
It dilutes them.
Absolutely.
And I think, you lose the storylines too, right? Because everybody will talk about that Auburn team. JJ, I know you're familiar with Jason Campbell and all those boys, man. Everybody was like, man, why did those guys win that thing, man? It's just, that's what you lose about college football, the lore and the rivalries, like guys jumping from team to team and playing at Oklahoma, then guys jumping over to Oklahoma State. I was listening when y'all guys were talking about cats going from NC State to North Carolina. Man, what are we doing? Like, y'all, you go.
We're jumping all over the place. Yeah,
just stop, man. Stop, man. We just losing so much stuff when it comes to like the pureness of college football, man. I don't mind cats getting paid. Don't get me wrong. Like walking through that doggone parking lot, player parking lot of Georgia Tech, man, I get very envious, KG. I see guys driving Ford Ranger Raptors and stuff. I was like, man, I've been trying to buy a Raptor for the past 6 years. What is going on here, man? But like that part of it, the playoff aspect of it, the elites that have to get into to be able to get into the playoffs, especially when it was a 4-team, like 2-team, all that stuff, man. Why this team to get in? Why that team to get in? All that stuff is a part of college football and like the base, the being of it. Like why it's so important and why so many people love it. I just think that, man, the more and more people push for more, the more, like you said, it's going to get diluted. It's going to get diluted.
Here's the one problem, though. You and I and all of us here on this show can scream to the high heavens that a 2014 playoff is a terrible idea, and it is a terrible idea. But you know what our stupid you-know-whats are going to be doing when that 2014 playoff comes around? We all going to be on our couches watching that. That's what I'm saying.
It's not the same. See, and this is why
we're going to be contributing to the same idea we are saying right now is a terrible idea.
Absolutely.
But it's because we get paid for this, okay? We got to do this. We got to, we ain't making no 100 millions. As Jarvis said, he walked through and saw a Raptor and got jealous. You see how low those aspirations are? He didn't say a Bentley truck. He didn't say the New Year's. He didn't say AMG. He said, I saw a Raptor and thought, why not me, God?
I'm a simple man, KG. I'm a simple man, baby. I don't ask for much. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. I'll take a used one, baby. You know what I'm saying?
It may be used, but it's new to you. It's new to you. That's all that matters.
Brand new, dog. I'm treated like
oh man. Brian, JJ, go ahead.
I think we've said it all. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make sense of 24 teams.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I'll watch because I like football. I'll still be cussing the people that created it during the whole process. I guarantee that as well.
Yeah, and in today's digital world, it's still the social media is still going to be buzzing about it, and everybody's still going to be watching it because in American society, you dangle football in front of us, we're always going to watch it, especially if it means something because we can never get enough football. I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint why you would do it. From any other standpoint, it's just an awful idea. Coming up next, just getting started here on our squad show, ACC Squad Show and Locked On Podcast. Coming up next, Bill Belichick. He got North Carolina no draft picks. I can't really say I'm surprised. Coming up. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one positions you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, and location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data, worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing these people who check your boxes. Less stress, less time, with more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. All right, welcome back to our Locked On ACC Squad show. Grayson Singleton, Jarvis Davis, Kenton Gibbs, JJ Jackson, and Brian Smith all here with you. So, gentlemen, North Carolina brought Bill Belichick in to hardly make a bowl game and to get no players drafted. And can't really say I'm surprised. Yeah, can't really say I'm surprised because there were people outside of North Carolina saying that Belichick was bringing in group of 5 dudes that nobody else wanted to touch. The whole thing's been a tire fire ever since. Jarvis, start with you, man. What the hell's going on at Chapel Hill, man, with Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick has lost his fastball, curveball, changeup, splitter, everything. He's lost it, man. The man cannot evaluate talent. When the last time Bill, like y'all know his track record from a draft standpoint? Before he got North Carolina, awful. It was terrible. He doesn't have it anymore. He think he's too smart for what's going on. Everybody like, oh yeah, we like this guy. We think he's the best. No, I like this guy right here. I can work with him. No, it doesn't work like that anymore. Bill Belichick, Brian, whatever your doggone name is, it doesn't work. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it anymore. He's lost it. And for North Carolina to bring him in to think he was going to do anything different, they need to doggone wash their feet. That's all. That's all they need to do.
I think that they need to give him an extension. I think they need to give it more time.
What?
He's a young spring chicken. He hasn't had no. Think about this. Who's been recording for Locked On for the shortest amount of time here? Who's been recording for the shortest time? I would guess Grayson. Grayson, how long have you been recording for Locked On?
About 9 months.
About 9 months. Okay, so you are under Bill Belichick in terms of how much experience he has coaching in college by about 3 to 4 months. Everybody else on this show has more experience working for Locked On than Bill Belichick has coaching college football. That's just a fact. That's a fact. In any capacity, by the way, not just as a head coach, as a GA, as an assistant, as anything. He just needs more time, guys. When they said we're turning this into the 33rd NFL team, he meant it. He meant it. We just got to give him and Lombardi time because Bill Belichick, all right, now to take my NC State glasses off. Obviously, this was a foolhardy move to begin with, and this is just the fruits of that, right? When you do foolish stuff, a hard head make for a soft behind, and that's what's happening right now. The UNC Tar Heels are finding out just how soft the behind gets because the reality is Bill Belichick, like you said, last time we saw him, the game looked like it passed him by. And people said, you know what would be best? To put him in a college game that's changed even more than the NFL has changed. And he'll somehow build the plane as he's flying. And we saw that coaching staff, rife with nepotism, guys who have never coached in their lives before. We saw that the on-field results were god-awful. Somehow you started Gio Lopez over Johnson, even though every time Johnson was in the game, their offense finally understood the concept of a forward pass. And even defense, which is supposed to be his specialty, could not piss a drop last year. So, again, the NC Stater in me says, give him a lifetime deal, okay? He'll figure it out eventually. He's the GOAT coach. The ACC in me says, get this embarrassment out of here. It's not going to get better. It's just not.
Let me make one correction before you guys go as well. They did not make a bowl game last year. I said hardly made a bowl. They did not make a bowl. They did not make a bowl game. Let me just go ahead. Let me make that correction right fast. All right, y'all go ahead.
Go ahead, JJ.
I was just going to say, so just last week, Bill Belichick turned 74 years old. This is an old man that's been around football a really long time. Just that alone, I would expect his just his name and weight alone to carry some significance into the NFL and have teams be like, you know what? I want to draft this guy because Bill Belichick has taught him something in the 1 year that was there, and that just didn't play out. Let me throw some numbers at you. In the NFL draft that just concluded, there were 15 non-power conference schools that had at least one player drafted, and North Carolina had nobody. North Carolina, big-time program, out of the ACC, 0 draft picks. Meanwhile, there were 15 non-power conference schools that had at least one draft pick, including Toledo, Navy, and North Dakota State that had multiple draft picks. And you're telling me that this North Carolina program has fallen off so far. So, I mean, Bill Belichick has run it into the ground so much that no one is willing to draft these Tar Heels to the next level. It's insane.
Look who he brought in as his general manager,
Yeah.
Michael Lombardi, who is one of the worst general managers you could ever possibly bring in to help you try to bring some recruits in. And then he's a terrible doggone broadcaster too. Yeah, I said, I'm sorry. I don't mind throwing darts, man, because he's just one of those guys that just doesn't really have a good understanding as to what a good player looks like in today's world. I just don't. He hasn't proven it. He didn't do it when he was actually a general manager in the NFL. And for Bill Belichick to think that he can hire him to bring him down in there and say, hey man, come on, bring somebody to talk to these 18-year-olds and get some of these 18-year-olds here and see what these guys in the portal looking like. And then you bring in all these group of five school guys and think you about to just go out here and win some football games in the ACC. If they just think it's just sweet, it ain't sweet. It's not sweet. And so yeah, man, it's just the arrogance. This is the arrogance just comes from Bill Belichick's soul. It just makes me just want to just throw up in my mouth.
The only thing I can remember from Michael Lombardi and Smitty, I'm gonna let you take it after this, but the only thing I remember from him even being on air was when he told Warren Sapp, yeah, we overpaid for you. And Warren Sapp said, your defense went from 32nd in stopping the run to 5th in the league when I was there. So seems like you got what you paid for plus some. And I'm like, wow, a GM that don't even know his team got better? Yeah, that seems like a great guy to bring in and evaluate players. I don't know.
Help me with that one.
For real, man. I don't know, but take it away, Smitty.
The only thing I'll say is I work deep in recruiting, 7-on-7, Under Armour camps, all that. Kids are not going to relate to Bill. And I'm being so kind. I know you're shocked by that, but I mean, age does matter. No, they have a hard time adjusting to me. I'm 52. He's 74. That's just not going to get it.
You relate to Jordan Hudson, though.
I'm about to say it makes you wonder why he's dating somebody his.
Well,
you can relate somewhere.
He wants his wallet. I mean, that's the only thing there is. That's not that.
Yeah.
That's garbage. But money hungry is all shit.
Let me give y'all some numbers right fast because the ACC actually put out the most embarrassing part of this. The ACC put out that the conference had 38 players drafted. Boston College had 4. Duke had 3. Georgia Tech, NC State, Stanford, and Wake Forest had 2. Cal, Florida State, Louisville, Pitt, and SMU each had 1. That's 13 schools out of the conference, if you include Miami and Clemson, who each had 9. 13 schools out of the conference. And the University of North Carolina, who brought in Bill Belichick and Mike Lombardi, ain't got nobody. To me, that's the most embarrassing part of it all, is that you brought in a celebrity coach who at last check was drafting kickers in the 4th round when he was the GM in New England, and you got no players drafted. That's just embarrassing, not just for the conference. That's embarrassing for the institution.
But it gets worse when you consider the fact that the manifesto that he wrote before he became the head coach at the University of North Carolina included a vast increase in their NIL funds. So it's not even like he's out there shaking his change cup saying, please, somebody help. Again, I'm always going to root for my cast technicians and my boy CJ Sadler that went over there, but make a good decision. Get out of that national letter of intent. Go somewhere else in the shadow port. No, but in all seriousness, I look at this team and I say, y'all are too resourced. You are too well resourced to have this much fecklessness in your program. You are not a program where Syracuse, I get it. With all due respect to Fran Brown, I get it. They shaking that change cup up there by every report I've heard. Boston College, as much as I can't stand Bill O'Brien, he's the greatest fail-forward guy I've ever seen in my life. If I could fail forward in the dating world the way he does in jobs, me and Meg would be together in no time. In no time. Hey.
But say you got a chance now.
You know what I mean? Hey, we're gonna make it happen. You know what I mean? In the words of Brandon Sorsby, want to bet on it? But no, in all seriousness, it's a moment where I'm saying to myself, you've got everything that you need in terms of infrastructure and all that. It's on your coach and your GM to get it done, to bring in those top-level players, and they're not doing it. And the worst part about it, you have the money to just overpay. That's what's happening right now in college basketball in the portal. I've seen multiple coaches who don't have the players they want. They're like, all right, well, I got the money. I'm going to put out $4 million for a guy who doesn't have any offers anywhere else over $2 million. I know that for a fact. Hey, listen, I ain't going to throw no shade to nobody, but I know that's how it's going down. And the fact that UNC couldn't even do that right is like, what do y'all want? What do we expect? Do we expect this to get better anytime soon?
No. Not until they fire him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's made there's not many people that you bring in of celebrity status like that make the program that much worse. Like, I've never seen this before.
It's hard to do.
Absolute
It's
joke.
hard to do.
Absolute
It's
joke.
hard. It is hard to do. You know who's not a joke? Duke Blue Devils basketball, man.
The right shade of blue. ACC champ.
Hey, JJ, I'm coming to you when we come back, because Duke, in the way too early rankings released by On3 earlier today, is by far and away the highest rated ACC team. So who exactly can challenge them, if anybody, for the ACC crown next year? We'll talk about that to close up the show next. All right, back here on the Locked On ACC Squad show, Grayson, Jarvis, Kenton, JJ, and Brian Smith all joining you here today. So, On3 released its way too early college basketball rankings as the transfer portal cycle is starting to hit its end, and it's the Duke Blue Devils and everybody else right now. As a matter of fact, the next highest rated team, I believe, is Virginia at number 11, and then you've got to go all the way down into the 20s to find Miami and Louisville as the other ACC representation. So, JJ, I'll come to you, Locked On Blue Devils guy. How much better than everybody else in the ACC is Duke right now?
Yeah, I think it's still a sizable gap, which is kind of crazy to think about. And it's not to diminish what other teams have done in the ACC. I think it's simply just to pat Jon Scheyer on the back once again with this roster that he's been able to build, retaining high-level talent. He had 2 players that turned down NBA money, most notably Patrick Gongba II and then Dame Sarr to come back to college for another season. Caden Boozer took a step up down the stretch at the end of the year for Duke. I know he had that last-second turnover in the Elite Eight game, but this is a guy that I'm betting my money on to improve. Caleb Foster comes back. And then, you go out and you get the number 1 transfer portal player available in John Blackwell, who scores 20 points a game for Wisconsin. He's a near 40% three-point shooter. And I'm still going. I haven't even mentioned the number 1 recruiting class that they're set to bring in with Cameron Williams and Deron Reppy Jr., Bryson Howard, just to name a few of those guys. So, I mean, the talent is just different. And what's been awesome to see out of Jon Scheyer lately is that throughout the course of the regular season, he finds ways to win. I mean, you can count on one hand the number of conference games that Duke has lost in the last 2 seasons combined, which is just silly in a conference that's been dominating basketball for so many years. I know basketball's been on a downturn. It's great to see these other teams improve. And I do think by and large, the ACC has gotten better. But because Duke continues to even raise their standards, it's just not, other teams aren't catching up to them at that same rate.
In the words of everybody in Charlottesville, who's back? Mr. DeRitter and company in that front court are going to have something to say about Duke being far and away the best program. And I know a lot of people will hear that and say, wait a minute, Ken, Virginia got the wheels whooped off them every single time them and Duke lined it up last year. I don't disagree, right? I will give you that. And the last time they played in the ACC championship game, that was the only close game that they played last season. I'm not disagreeing with that. However, number 1, I love Odom as a coach. I think that he's one of the up-and-coming stars in the coaching ranks. Congratulations, Virginia. You found your next guy. You found your next Tony Bennett. He's going to be there. He's going to be great for the next 15 to 20 years. Good job there. But they have so much size. And not only do they have size, they play hard as hell, man. Those big dudes run the floor like nobody's business. If UVA could get themselves some guards, which in the portal, they've done a good job. I know their pickup out of UC Irvine is supposed to be that spark plug type of player. But if they could just get themselves better guard play, they are really in contention to be something dangerous because they just drag out 7-footer after 7-footer after 7-footer after 6'9" with a +8 wingspan. And you're just sitting there like, where the hell are y'all getting all these giants from? What is going on? Like, this is that Virginia team, I think with their front court and their size, they give anybody trouble, including the mighty, mighty Duke Blue Devils.
I think one of the guys that can probably potentially take down Duke or at least challenge them. How about Jon Lucas at Miami? We know Miami got the bag. They got it all. They got Santo Ciro in the transfer portal, and they are working on some big-time recruits for the 2020, the 5-star kid for the 2026 class. So, yeah, this is like, yeah, Duke is clearing and obvious that school, but like you look at the jump from what Miami made in 1 year. They went from the bottom of the conference to third in the ACC, man. Like, I would love for Georgia Tech to do something crazy like that, but hey, we just have to wait around for a little while for that one. But yeah, I think Jon Lucas is a guy coming from Duke.
Good coaching tree.
He coming from what better person to challenge Duke than a former Duke assistant? And I think Jon Lucas in Miami, I think they definitely got the money to do it. So yeah, I think he can pull it off.
I have 2 predictions. Number 1, Duke will eventually win the national title next year. Number 2, I think that Florida State will be the next new team to kind of steps up. I'm not saying they're going to be great, but they've got a coach that cares. Luke Laux is going to help the conference raise up. JJ talked about it. It's getting better. Florida State being down did not help the conference very much the last few years.
Sure.
They're going to be better. I'm not saying they're going to beat Duke, but it wouldn't shock me. They're going to beat somebody. They'll beat Carolina or Virginia or somebody next year that they probably shouldn't. And that's the kind of thing we need Georgia Tech to take another step up, et cetera, in the league to make it better. Sounds like Miami. Everybody already made points about that. They're going to be better. Grayson, is SMU going to suck next year? Are they going to be competitive? What's going on there, man?
No clue. Absolutely no clue. They have. Hey man, it is crazy times trying to figure out what's going on in the transfer portal, and I'm trying to pump as much positivity as possible. But here's the thing: they haven't hit a home run in the transfer portal. They brought in a 19-point per game scorer from Tulane in the form of Rowan Brumbaugh. They've got some pesky defenders and some athleticism out of the portal, but they haven't done anything spectacular in the portal. So they could be as good. They could win, 19, 21 games, or they could fall flat on their face and Andy Enfield could get fired at the end of next year. Like both of those things are certainly a possibility. So I really don't even know. You guys made the Miami points, and I was hoping you guys wouldn't, because Miami to me is the team to watch. Like, we know what Virginia is capable of, but Miami in their first year with Jai Lucas took such a step forward that you have to wonder, do they take a similar jump in year 2? And at that point, they're competing with Duke for the ACC title, not just in the regular season, but in the conference tournament as well. And the last thing I'll say about this too, is it not get to the Final Four and win a Final Four game or bust for Jon Scheyer? Because you look at their retention, you look at the guys they keep bringing in, you look at the high school classes they keep bringing in. At some point, you cannot keep losing in the most fantastic ways possible, because 2 years in a row on the biggest stages, they have found the most spectacular ways to cough up games. Against Houston, they can't get the ball in bounds. They end up losing the game. Against UConn, I know he's a freshman, but Caden Boozer panics and throws the ball away. So that's 2 years in a row where you've got freshman-heavy teams that panic in the worst possible situations, and you find a way to blow it. So at some point, with the players that you keep bringing in, with the players that you keep getting to come back, you have got to figure out a way to win a Final Four game if you're Jon Scheyer. Otherwise, at some point, we got to start looking at him sideways too.
I'll add to that and go the year prior to the Houston game that you're alluding to. I ran into one Mr. KG and the NC State Wolfpack in the Elite Eight the year before, where Duke had a double-digit lead against a double-digit seeded NC State team and found a way to not win that one there. All these points are totally fair. I would just simply counter and reminding people that Mike Krzyzewski is the best guy to ever do this in the sport. And across 42 years, he only won the thing 5 times. And over 42 years, he only made the Final Four 13 times. So it's hard to win 6 consecutive games in the format that this tournament is. And now we're adding more teams to the tournament to make it go that way. It's not always the best way to, crown a champion, so to speak. But Brian pointed it out earlier. Duke's going to make it happen at some point. We'll be back on top. I'll be happy. I've had sights on 6 since 2015. I think it's coming. The one team also I want to give some love to, fellas, before we got to get out of here, is I'm with you on Jay Lucas. What a climb they had. I really do like the NC State hire, coming back in the family, getting a guy there to hopefully build off what's happening there. But Jerry McNamara going back to be the head coach at Syracuse after what he did at Siena. He's played with Carmelo Anthony and was a part of their 2003 national championship winning team. He's got the Jim Boeheim DNA. He keeps Kai and Anthony on the squad for another season. Now that he's going to be another year older and more mature within the program and a couple of top recruits that they got coming in, I hope for the state of the league that Syracuse is able to turn the corner. And then I am a big fan of what Luke Laux was doing down the stretch. Florida State played Duke tougher than anybody else with that 1-point game that they had in the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. So, basketball's in a really, really good spot. I'm just saying Duke's still at the top, and if you're coming for the king, you best not miss.
I'm going to say this before we get out of here. Duke's recipe is drastically undercut by NIL. And I know what you're thinking. What? That doesn't make sense. Duke has very deep pockets in NIL. It's not what Duke can't get. It's what other teams can. You see what happened from NIL. They lose to teams that are older and more experienced, and those guys are top guys who know they won't be in the NBA one day. Why is that different from Duke? Duke's top guys, they come do their one little year dance, and then they going right on to the NBA, as opposed to UConn's top guys who've been in the program for 3 to 4 years, as opposed to Michigan's top guys who were, Yaxel was what, 23, 22, something like that? Like the stars.
Talking about being guarded by an 18-year-old.
Listen, the stars of these older teams in the regular season, it's a lot different and you can kind of find your way. But when the games get tighter and it starts to get to that real deal one-game elimination environment, there's something to be said for that experience, which by the way that Duke is constructed, they de facto will never have at the same clip as a Michigan or a UConn or et cetera. But again, that's outside the conference. In the conference, They can out-athlete us all to a point where it's like, somebody, please save us. They are Thrag. We are the regular Viltrumites. But in the rest of the nation, you got a couple Allen aliens out there. You got a couple folks willing to put the scourge virus on them, if you catch what I'm saying.
I know y'all saw who won Rookie of the Year in the NBA. And I know y'all saw who was the runner-up Rookie of the Year in the NBA. I mean,
how'd that work out for them in the tournament? How'd they do?
No, we didn't win the championship. You're right. Kitten, you're right, KG. Hey, we're building great players.
Again, I do believe that y'all have an excellent program. I do believe that like there is immense value to the way y'all do it, and you kind of can't. You're trapped in those golden handcuffs to where you can't stop recruiting top players.
That's what I'm saying all the time, man. And it's in the comments like, what are you not supposed to say yes to the best players in the sport? No, I'd rather not have you come be a part of the team.
Exactly. It puts you in a very interesting scenario where it's like, I can't let go of these top players, but I do need experience in clutch time. Where's the balance? Who knows?
Yeah. And to your point, KG, and we'll get out of here. That's what's made college basketball and college football more interesting, is that other teams can go get some of those players, and you can't just stash a bunch of 5-stars on the back end of your roster anymore. And JJ, the last thing I'll say on this is your point's very interesting, that you can't just say, well, he hasn't made a national championship, because it's hard to do. Yes, it is. But how he hasn't made a national championship is the wild part. It's the how, not just the fact that he hasn't.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything before we get out of here? No. All right, good. We're straight.
Belichick ain't coach no more.
Yeah.
Hey, one more year of Bill Belichick, and we gotta put the deuces on that experiment.
Look, we went from laughing so hard that we couldn't tell if we were recording or not recording at the very start of this thing to a great finish down the stretch here, fellas. What a week on the squad.
Oh my goodness. Hey man, maybe next week Ken and Gibbs will be on time and we'll get a better start to the show today. But appreciate y'all making us your first listen of the day. For Jarvis Davis, Ken and Gibbs, Brian Smith, and JJ Jackson, I'm Grayson Singleton. Check us out at ACC Squad next week. We'll see y'all. Take it easy.